Now, do you lot remember when the Conservatives were in power and one of the things that they were thinking of doing was cutting the winter fuel payments for pensioners because, you know, they wanted to do loads of spending cuts and they received a massive backlash for it, right? And Labour, being the opposition party at the time, couldn't wait to dig the knife in and twist it. So they went and they got a report commissioned that stated that if the winter fuel payments were cut, up to 4,000 pensioners would die in 1 year alone if they couldn't afford to put the heating on, right? And they used that as evidence to say, look, boo, those Tories are evil. By the way, I'm not a Tory, I don't like the Tories. But Labour produced this report, ha, there you go, you're evil. And then when they were in power, I think it was in their top 5 things. One of the first things that they did was they released prisoners early. Well done, Labour. That was great. We really needed loads of more prisoners back on the street. And another thing that they did was they cut the winter fuel allowance for pensioners. This is estimated to have saved, I think it's anywhere from 1.6 billion to 2 billion, but that's what they were looking to save, right? So get this, think about it. They commission a report that says if you cut winter fuel payment allowance, 4,000 pensioners will die. Then they get into power and the first thing that they do is cut winter fuel payments for pensioners. They're openly telling you that they're happy with pensioners dying, right? You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. They've just done it. They've just commissioned the report that says that this will happen. And then they've gone, yeah, do you know what? We're okay with that. That seems like a good number. Yeah, they could just die. So then they were happy with that, right? Now, why I bring this up is because I saw a headline recently which just sums this nation up and where we're at the minute and our priorities under a Labour government. But I saw that annually we spend £540 million on translation services and other services to help children integrate into school. So in other words, kids that can't speak English, where it's not their national tongue, it's not their first or second language sometimes, and they struggle in schools. So we pay hundreds of millions on services to integrate these kids that basically aren't our kids. You know, let's stand back here because it's important you understand what's going on. So Labour, everybody likes to think Labour are stupid or they're really naive. They're none of the above. They're evil, and it's important that you understand that. The stuff that they do is evil. They're not naive. They're not unaware, for example, when they input loads of people and then people go on to commit crimes. They know that they're doing that. They're happy that they're doing that. When they say, sorry pensioners, I know you've paid in your whole life, but there's not enough money in the pot for us to keep your fuel on at winter. You're going to have to just be cold and just suffer with it. And then they hand 500 million to children who are foreign kids who struggle speaking basic English. That's not my problem. It's not the pensioners' problem. It's not your problem. But yet we throw our money on it. It's a misallocation of resources. Now, it's very easy and very tempting to pretend that misallocation is whoopsie, it was by accident, or maybe their hearts are in the right place, but they're just not quite getting it right. Wrong again. The Labour Party do this thing. Their goal is to essentially throw your money in the bin. It's not about the money. Take your money and spend it on squirrels. Take your money and spend it on carbon capture. Take your money and spend it on anything. Spend it on sweets for mice. I don't know, anything, right? The idea is just to take your money off you and then waste it and then get the next batch and waste it because they want everybody equally poor. It's what Labour have always been about. Their goal and what they think is to grind people between the millstones of inflation and taxation. We already have the inflation from all the excess money printing around the world and central banks just smashing out cash backed by nothing, which creates wave after wave of inflation. So we already have that going on. And then Labour have decided, do you know what we need? The biggest tax increases in history. And we'll pretend them, we'll badger them under the whole thing of we're coming for the rich. But they're not coming for the rich. We all feel these taxes, we all feel these pressures, we all feel both of the sides of this coin. We feel the inflation in the supermarket, it struggle to get a house, struggle to buy things. And then we see the other side, we see our actual wage getting hit, we see corporations getting hit with different taxes, we see all these taxes coming through, you see your pension getting clipped, you see the going in after your ISA, all these things that normal people can have and should have, they're looking to clip you there as well. So the idea is it's only logical looking at this. Labour want to see you poor, it's just who they are. Everybody, they want a poor class right across Britain where everybody struggles and everybody's on the welfare teat, and then they have you on the hook. That's just how Labour are. They're absolute far left wackos. It makes me laugh. I always get a lot of pushback, you know. What do you mean? Labour aren't far left. Labour are so far left, it's crazy. Look at what Labour have done. Labour have tried to redefine what men and women are, and they've gone along with it. They're trying to redistribute everybody's money, but seems to be no one. It's working for no one. Who's Britain working for at the minute? It should be you incentivise working people having families, because that's the bread and butter of any nation. It's always been that way for thousands of years. If you start to deviate from it, you get funny results. Well, that's what we're getting now. This boat crisis that we have, the illegals coming over, all the rest of it. People have been attracted by our welfare state. They don't love me, and they don't go, do you know what, I can't wait to live next door to that guy, he looks like a great guy, and I also love the grey sky as well and constant rain. They're not flooding over because they've recently discovered that they love my history and culture. They've come here because it pays to come here and live rent-free and be on all these different handouts that you can get. You can live a very good lifestyle in the UK on the handouts. And that's why they're coming here. And Labour have set the scene up for that to happen, right? And they're doing nothing to stop it. You could easily stop it. Stop the welfare, stop the problem. It's that simple, right? This is the thing that we've got into such a hole in the UK. It's hard to think, oh, how do we get out of it? We're in such a bad way. One of the major ways, you don't need deportation teams, although I'm not against them. We should have them as a backup. But you don't need all these things, because people think, oh man, so many people have come here, it would be such a big task. We'd need all these teams to round people up and then keep sending them out on planes. They will self-deport if you take away the welfare team. We have handed out most of the world's benefits like we're drunken sailors. Just bash, 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 everybody can have it. And that's why everybody's flocked here. You can get a part-time job, you can get escalated into social housing. The government will then pay for most of your housing needs, so you can work part-time. You then get paid for your first kid, you then get paid for your second kid. The benefits are really high, so you, whilst doing maybe a part-time job or maybe not even working, can have multiple kids. That works for a lot of people, so they love coming here to take advantage of that. In turn though, that pushes prices up for everybody else. It means there's less resources in the system, and this is how this game works. Labour have deliberately done that, and any party that has the stones to deal with that deals with the mass migration problem. It ends all of this virtually overnight. The funny part is we can watch Trump, how he did this. So when Biden was in charge, senile Biden, and we know he's senile, we knew it at the time, anybody who was watching, but they confirmed it afterwards, good job. But when he was in charge, he basically threw open the doors, come here, come all, you're all going to be citizens, get this phone, press this button, and you're going to be citizens. And he tried to make, I think it was in 1 year, 8.5 million people flooded into America. And for them, it was like their darkest hour. They felt like how a lot of us feel in the UK. You know, we're being inundated, country's being destroyed, this guy's mental who's in charge, he's lost the plot, and it's game over for us, you know. They must have felt so bad at the time. And then lo and behold, Trump gets in. Now, I'm not a massive Trump fan. He's got some good points, but I'm not his biggest fan particularly. I could argue for and against him in certain points. You should never fall in love with one person and just admire them totally. He's got some good points, he's got some bad points. But to his credit, because he was so cavalier on this and he knew what he wanted to do, he started the mass deportations, he got ICE involved to get rid of it, he started attacking the benefits that these people were entitled to, and they pretty much self-deported. So if you were an illegal who broke into America, and you've got yourself a loan, you've got yourself a home, you just kitted your house out with loads of stuff, and then a guy gets in charge and he's looking to deport you, right? You're either going to get caught by some agents they're going to grab you and throw you out of the country with what you've got on your back. Or you can make an active choice to leave, get your money out, transfer it out, get your loans out, all the rest of it, take all of your jewellery, all of the things that you've accumulated, take the car and leave. Most of them opted for that stuff. They went, well, I'm going to get kicked out anyway. Why would I want to leave forced out by ICE agents when I can take all of the stuff that I've just accumulated in this country? Thank you, guys. And they took all this stuff and they ran. So a lot of them deliberately went on their way because they could see the writing on the wall. They knew a man had come along, no nonsense, let's stop this illegal border crossing thing in its tracks. And by taking the incentives away, it ended it overnight. If you would have, there was times when they called them caravans, but where people like George Soros were bussing people in, getting planes, and these people from all over. They were from Africa, Somalia, the Middle East, Pakistan, India, and these people were throwing their passports away, getting on coaches, travelling up all together as a big unit, and just breaking into the UK and helping them into the USA, and helping themselves to the system. When Trump fixed this, it ended it overnight. Ending the welfare state is what attracts these people to our nations, and anybody that has the balls to deal with that wins the game. It's that simple. So sometimes this is like the white pill for everyone, the key to focus on, because you can look at the UK sometimes and you can think we're in such a dire position. This is awful. It's unfixable. We're never going to win. You know, as this saying goes, it's always darkest before the dawn. You know, it's always dark right before it's about to turn light. You can fix it. Anybody that comes along and dismantles big chunks of the welfare state fixes the UK. And in reality, right now, we've changed the incentive structure all over the UK, so it doesn't pay to work. As a result, even indigenous people, so I'm a nationalist and I don't want to import all of the world here, but I'm not so naive where I think that my people are fantastic and they're all perfect. I'm fully aware that we have massive homegrown problems in the UK, but they're different from mass migration. So deal with mass migration. Let's get people gone who shouldn't be here, but then let's focus on getting people back to work, looking after the two-parent household and the family structure, and not giving everybody free homes and free everything, which is what we do in the UK. And unfortunately, because we've moved so far left in the UK, it's really difficult to talk about. As soon as you mention cutting welfare, people scream as if they're being murdered. And they try, you only have to talk about the NHS and how it's not working correctly. Oh, he wants to privatise the NHS. I think, so I'll give you an example of the NHS. I think people, businessmen, should be sent in to go through the books of the NHS with a fine-tooth comb and run it as if it's your own business. And if you did, what you'll find is the NHS is riddled from top to toe with corruption at every level. Let's say you'll find, let's say you could buy scalpels for, I don't know, 10 pence somewhere around the world. You'll find that the NHS probably pays £3 per scalpel. Why do we overpay? Because people within the NHS of all the different middle management set up side companies, and then they make sure that the people that they source from are these side companies. So what you'll find on the NHS, we overpay for everything because they see it as just one big piggy bank to steal from. So all the champagne socialists that are riddled in the NHS have their cousins, have their family members, all working attached onto the side, all with their little schemes and their little gimmicks of how to asset strip the NHS. So whenever anything comes along of want to fix the NHS, they all scream and they all, we need to strike, we need to ballot, we need to do. The NHS needs fixing. It doesn't need more money. So everybody wants to throw more money at it. It's not just a never-ending pot. There are so many things that you can fix on the NHS. Like I say, get a team of actual businessmen with a recorded history of being solid in their fields, send them in and get them to go through the books in a fine-tooth comb, and you'll find that you'll be able to save tens of billions by doing that. But again, a lot of corruption and a lot of scandal is in the NHS, and it's built into the system. So those people are having a really good time, courtesy of you or me, the taxpayer, and they don't want it to end. So they're going to scream blue murder that it's, that's just how it is. Corruption is in all these institutions at every level, and they don't like the idea of that changing. Well, it's going to change, and it needs to change. Otherwise, the UK is just going to continue to crumble under the weight of its own silliness. But yeah, see, again, I've gone off on a tangent. Back to the fact that Labour's priorities have always been other people that aren't us. So the fact that at the original story, which is they were happy to cut 1.6 billion to 2 billion in terms of pension credit, and in effect kill, their words, kill 4,000 pensioners, but at the same time they'll happily pay for translation services for kids, were being mismanaged on purpose. And I can't stress that enough. It's being done with malicious intent on purpose. If you take anything away from this video, take that message. When you're watching the TV and you go, that doesn't make sense, why have Labour done that? Because that'll hurt this, that'll do that, that'll change that, that'll ruin that. It's because they're doing it on purpose. They're not naive, they're not silly, they're not, it's not, oops, we had great intentions. They've not got great intentions. The Labour Party now, maybe 50, 60 years ago, maybe they were good people, but they're not anymore. And it's important to remember that, guys. And my battery's going on my PC. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. And thank you for watching the video, guys. Take care. I hope you enjoyed it.